Well, can you believe it? It's 2024, and we are back. This is the one and only OSB Sports Podcast Show. I am Scott Matthews, and I am joined by my two superstars, the one and only CEO, Teddy Brooks of the Sports Profits. Happy New Year, Teddy.
Happy New Year. Good to be back. Excited.
You ready to rumble?
I'm ready. Absolutely.
All right. And, of course, the one and only, the Big Kahuna.
Happy New Year, fellas.
From OSB.
Happy, healthy, prosperous New Year.
2024 going to be an interesting year.
It's going to be very interesting. I'm going to wear my crash helmet soon. I think I'm going to put on. But
well, I'll tell you what, those college football games on January 1st were dynamite. I don't know if you watched.
Amazing.
Great games.
And we needed it because
came down to last place.
The bowl games before that were terrible. I mean, it was a bad bowl season.
Nasty.
But January 1st made up for it. I actually, funny quick story, my internet and cable woke up on January 1st, gone. I actually had to go to my office to watch the games. I wasn't planning on it.
See that, guys? That's loyalty right
Dedication.
there. Got to pull them in. Well, what about you? What did you do on the holidays? Anything exciting before we get into it?
Laid low, but made some money over the holidays. And, yeah, it was interesting. I mean, some of these bowl games should not have played. I mean, when you get teams that are 50% and they're in a bowl game, and it's all just, we spoke about that. But there was some quality stuff New Year's Day. Looking forward to Monday's championship game.
Yeah, we'll talk about. We'll definitely talk about that later in the show. You got the number 1 and number 2 seeds in the country going at it. The current line on that game is Michigan minus 4.5 points. We'll talk about that a little later. We got a lot of NFL action coming up. I'm really excited and jacked up. The final week of the season, a lot of games, a lot of implications on the line, and we're going to be breaking down some of those games. And we got the NBA. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
One other thing, and the bad officiating, now everyone's tying this in to say the NFL is fixed. I mean, I don't know where these people are coming with this, but yeah, it is bad officiating, but I don't see how they're tying it in, say the NFL is in bed with the refs and it's a whole scheme.
On.
Yeah, that's just gamblers just getting beat and just looking.
It depends if you're on the right side of the game or the wrong side of the game. If you agree with that one,
you know, it would take a major conspiracy to do that, and that's just not happening.
Well, here's what I'll say about that. You know, I think that having players in on fixing, I think it's a little overboard, but there could always be that 1 or 2 or 3 bad refs, like a Tim Donahue,
whatever. Yeah.
I will bring this up later. I'm waiting for the guy's name, but that referee. From that Dallas Lions game.
They banned them from the playoffs, correct?
Was
that crazy or what?
He has, in his games this year, big-time line movement. And when the line moves in the way that in the certain team's favor,
right,
that team is undefeated. I'm going to get more on that. I'm waiting on one of my guys to text me the info because I don't want to say the wrong name. I want to say his name properly.
I don't know if the people understand what we're saying, but the player didn't, I guess, check in with the referee.
He did check in, but the refs got it wrong.
Okay, the refs got it wrong, and obviously they made a 2-point conversion to go up 21-20 to take the lead late in the game.
Human error.
They took the 2-point conversion away, so Detroit ends up losing the game against Dallas, which was I've never seen anything like that. I tell you, to be honest.
There is something in the rule book. This has never been used before, and I think it would be very controversial, but there is something in the rule book that states that Goodell could actually, if he wanted to, I don't think he's not going to do it. He could overrule it, and he could have given the Lions the win in that game. It's never been used before. I don't think they're going to start using that rule now.
Bets are graded already. What can they do as far as the bets?
I'm sure they can figure out a way to reverse them. But yeah, it hasn't
been. Take the money out of your account?
Yeah, right. Hey, they've done that. They've made some calls after the fact, and it's taken winning tickets and turning them into losing. It's very rare you see it, but it has happened in the past with some crazy things on outcomes.
But the refereeing overall has been bad this year. I mean, it's just been poor. I mean,
you know, it is what it is. It's been going on like this for a long, long time, but it just seems like there's more focus on it now with gambling being
and
legal.
social media. We're seeing a lot of replays.
Yeah, you just see
a lot of things circulate.
But hey, you know what? That's part of the nature of the beast, guys. Unfortunately, referees, the penalties, the turnovers. That's what makes football so interesting when it comes to covering point spreads. That's what makes our jobs so difficult because there's so many intangibles that go on behind the scenes. You might have the right team, but you lose it like on a crazy play or a penalty that takes points off the board. But listen, we got to
real quick.
Go ahead.
One thing that's funny about betting on sports is people always remember their losses on crazy calls like that, but they never talk about when they win on crazy calls like that.
It's all. Listen, it's
so involuntary.
That's the way it is.
Take my win. It was a bad call.
I hear some rumors that you've been spending a lot of time down at the Hard Rock at the sports book down there.
I've been at the Hard Rock. It's quite a scene. I have to give the Seminoles credit. They really put together a really good product down there. And an acquaintance of ours was down there last week, and he saw someone make a $500,000 wager and won.
On the Giants against the Eagles.
And paid the dude right there in cash.
Yep. $500,000. He bought the line to 14.5.
Yeah.
And he got back over $1 million on a $500,000 wager.
They'll take any size wager.
Hey, that's great. That's good. That's good for I guess serious players that it's better than playing with a book right back in the day. I don't know if you'd ever get your money if you made that kind of wager. But listen, we got a lot of games, guys. Big-time games this week to talk about. We got some huge plays on Saturday in the NFL. We're going to key on these games. I don't know if you've looked at them, made decisions on these games, but we got 2 games on Saturday. We got the Steelers against the Ravens. Obviously, Lamar is out. He's not going to play. And we got the Texans and the Colts. And I want to get your opinions on those games. Do you have anything you like, Teddy, on those games?
So this is a really interesting game, the Steelers-Ravens game, because the Ravens have nothing to play for. The Steelers do have an outside chance of getting into the playoffs if they win and some other people lose. And the line moved 7 points from +3.5 to -3.5. Funny thing is, the referee that I was just talking about.
Oh, he's reffing?
He's reffing this game.
Oh, boy.
But it's a tough game to call because the Ravens.
4 points right now, the Steelers.
Yeah, the Ravens are benching more than just Lamar. I mean, the Ravens are probably benching
they're going to rest
the whole
all
team.
their key players.
All their key players.
They don't need it.
So, I mean, you never know with a spread like this. It's going to be a tough one to call. But I would imagine the Steelers cover.
Okay.
That would be my take on this one, just because they're basically playing a second-string team.
Big Kahuna, what do you like in that game?
Well, just a little to fill in what Teddy's saying. Steelers have to win. Another scenario, Jags lose, Broncos win, or the Bills lose.
A lot of scenarios.
A lot of scenarios that Steelers can get in. You look back, traditionally, these two teams do play each other pretty tight here. Pittsburgh's offense is pretty much in shambles. So,
well, they showed up last week. They came out.
Show up last week.
They played good last week.
The Ravens are sitting everyone. I'm going to go for the under, 35.5.
35.5, that's the number I'm showing.
Yeah, it's a low number. If I had a lean, I would take Pittsburgh, but I like the under. That's my best play for that game.
Also, we want to talk about the second game, the Houston and Indianapolis Colts game. You having a play on that game?
No, I mean, I do. In short, I do like the Texans, but this is another both teams must win here, all right? Houston's quarterback, Stroud, has been just unbelievable this season.
He's going to be Rookie of the Year.
He's going to be Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, hands down, I think.
Right. Texans defense is allowing 20 points against the division, I believe. I'm going to lean towards the Texans. It's a low number, -1 to cover.
I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I think the home team are getting points in this game. They're both battling. They're both sitting at the same numbers. I like the Colts in this game. I think the Colts at home +1.5 I wouldn't even have to adjust the number. I think the Colts could even be a money line play. I like the Colts in this game. I think they're going to come out real strong in this particular matchup. Even though CJ's been playing unbelievable, lights out when he's in there, I just think the Colts are going to put some type of scheme together, keep him in check, and outside of him, if he's not moving and grooving, I think it's going to be a tough day for Houston. So I'm jumping on the Colts at home plus 1.5. That's a 7-unit play for me.
Wow.
Anything on that game?
Yeah, so on this game, I think, you have two teams that have these younger quarterbacks, obviously Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud, and you have Gardner Minshew, who he's been holding his own. I mean, he looks good too.
He does. He can show up when he.
Yeah, absolutely. So in this game right here, I'm going to look at the total. The number has gone up big time. I mean, it opened up at like 43, 44. I think it's at 47.5 right now. So on this game right here, I like buying that number to 46.5 and going over 46.5.
Okay.
I think you're going to see some points in this one.
Strong play, regular play?
Regular play. I mean, these final week NFL plays for me, I don't go big money. One thing I would tell, if you were a client of mine, we would be betting the big money on college hoops and hockey more so than NFL this week. So everything I'm going is like a mid-level play in the NFL.
Well, that's a great point you just made up, because this is really a transition time for all of us right now with football and college football ending and the NFL winding down. We start branching, not that we haven't already, but we're going to really start focusing a lot more of our time and attention into the college basketball, the NBA, and the NHL hockey. So this is the time where you could probably catch some good numbers, because they're focusing right now on the NFL playoffs and all these college bowl games. So there's some mistakes out there you could probably capitalize on. I don't know, if you agree with that or not, but where you can catch some good numbers.
Yeah, we've been running, like, if you look at our YouTube, we've been running mostly hockey and college hoops on our YouTube, and we're 16-4 in the last 20 games just on,
That's strong.
Just obscure games that people really aren't paying attention to. Small schools, and a lot of people are limited on these small schools. I talked to some guys that they're with FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM, and they get cut off or limited on certain types of plays.
I've had some friends of mine that are pretty sharp players. I deal with a lot of sharps around me, and they've been having issues with the Hard Rock app and some other apps where they've been winning on totals, college totals. So they were playing a certain amount. Now they sliced them down to like 200-300. The only way they'll allow them to play strong is if they actually physically go in there. But on the apps, they've cut them down tremendously because they've been beating them on these on these totals in college basketball. And college basketball totals, a lot of people know there's opportunities out there to really do extremely well.
Lines move quick though. You got to really get the right number. I've seen lines move 6-7
Well, you're
points.
in with some of the sharpest guys out there.
And I just found this out. I mean, I guess I should have known this talking about college. In Oregon, you cannot bet college sports.
At all.
At all.
I have a client.
I gave a guy a game the other day, and he goes, Tommy, I can't find this game. I'm thinking he's jerking my chain, if I could use that term. And, hey, listen. And you know what?
Why would he jerk your chain?
I Googled, not much of a chain these days either, but that's another point.
Well, that's another story.
Well, listen,
we got to do another podcast on that one.
This is a family show, but no, you cannot bet college sports.
Ben,
in
write
Oregon.
a prescription for him, I think, Ben.
Well,
get a prescription.
It ran out.
Okay, there you go.
So you can't, and I have clients that are pretty big bettors that travel to Washington.
Yeah, Washington, you
to
could
bet college. Now these rules, they're going to have to figure something out. That you want to see a little bit of more of a uniform situation with these bettings. Like another thing, if you're in Virginia or you're in New York, you can't bet
Syracuse or
on
any of the
teams that are even if you're not betting on it, you can't bet on college teams in that state.
Yeah.
But then if you live in Tennessee, you can bet on the Volunteers. So
now, why is that? Why are the rules
I think
different?
that they're
like
afraid
in these
of
states?
being involved in some type of fixing situation.
Okay.
Some type of.
So some states are like real strong on it.
Well,
some...
the legal question is this is not federally approved, so the states have the rights to make the rules up. That's what it is.
Okay.
That's the answer. The states can make their own rules. But one other thing I want to throw out there, and every year, college hoops starts in November. We all know that. But if you really look at college hoops, maybe from our perspective, when does it really kick in?
Conference plays.
It kicks in January through
Now.
March. So
Now.
it's really a 3-month sport,
Yeah.
college hoops, in the end of the day. Even though it starts in November, now you're going to start looking at college hoops. And guess what? Second week of March, the tournaments.
You could even look at the amount of games per day are higher.
Yeah.
Like in December,
Yeah.
there were less games on a Wednesday or a Thursday than there are now.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff.
Well, that's that's college sports for you, man. But college basketball is really tremendous when they go into the conference play. That's when the intensity levels go up, and then obviously they go into their conference tournament plays, and then they go into the March Madness. So this is a really good time of the year. I like this time of the year because I feel there's some value out there where you could take advantage of mistakes. And again, the odds makers really are looking more at these bowl games and the NFL going into the playoffs. So there are some good opportunities out there to take advantage of some numbers that are off between the NBA and college basketball right about this time of the season. But guys, we talked a lot about that. I think we need to move on. We got some major games going on Sunday in the NFL. Matter of fact, there was 2 that we had on our slate here. Let me just pull everything up. We're looking at this game between the Rams, who have turned their season around, playing really well against the 49ers. The 49ers have nothing to play for. They clinched all the way, number 1 seed. So if you have anything strong, Teddy, on this game?
Both of these quarterbacks really solid. I think it's going to be a similar situation. The 49ers don't really have anything to go for, but the line has moved once again. They were about 7-point favorites. Now they're about 3 or 4-point favorites.
4 points, yep.
It's a tough one. It's in San Fran. I would, once again, I like that 4. I would go with Rams plus the 4. If it moves anymore, I would probably stay away from it because it's not a game. Like, when I love a game, I'm buying those points. You guys know that. But if I just like a game, rather than spending the extra money and buying the points and having to take it at minus 130 or 135 or 140, probably just rather stay away from the game. So if it stays at 4, I'm rolling.
And these teams always, battle each other. I mean, I believe the 49ers have had their they've owned the Rams over the years. Especially in these big games recently, they've all played
8-2 against the spread against the Rams in the last 10.
They play really well. But like I said, in a game that's kind of not so meaningful for the 49ers as it is the Rams, this is the type of game.
And the Rams are hot. They've covered the spread in 5 of the last 6.
The Rams are playing extremely well right now. Big Owen, anything on that matchup?
Well, both teams are in here, but there's a little tidbit here. If the Rams win, they do lock up the 6th seed in the playoffs. They've won 3 in a row. They've covered the last 4 West Coast games. Niners are going to be sitting people. I'm going to take the points with the Rams here, plus the 4. I mean, would I say it's a strong game? No, but they do have more momentum to win this game than the Niners do.
So you're going to take plus 4?
I'll take the 4.
And an interesting thing is, this is more of a question than a statement. Is McCaffrey playing? He has something to play for with certain the touchdown record and certain yardage things, and he's I think pretty much Lamar Jackson's locked up MVP at this point, right?
It looks that way, man.
He's
the way he's been playing lately.
After that Dolphins game,
he took the Dolphins to town, didn't he?
He went from that Dolphins game. He went from plus 100 or minus 100 to minus 2,000 for MVP.
Yeah, no, he's locked in. It's either him or Purdy, I think. Or maybe McCaffrey too.
When that's the thing, are any of those guys going to be starting this week? Something we got to look at. We know Lamar's not.
I'll tell you, the Rams, the way they're playing right now, McVay's got them really, really locked in. And obviously the Niners have played phenomenal all year. But I think they're going to give them a run for their money. I like the Rams. I also agree with you, Big Kahuna, on this one. I like the Rams in this game. I think I would get this line and leave it at 4. The line is currently at plus 4. I think this is a good 6-unit play, and I do like the Rams. I think they can keep the game close with a possible chance to pull off an upset. So definitely jumping on the Rams plus the 4 points in this game. But, hey, right in our backyard, the big one.
Wait, we all agree on this one. So you guys know when we all agree on a game, the percentage is high. Rams.
There you go.
All 3 of us.
And we got the big one right here. This is it. This is going to decide the AFC East. I can't believe it's coming down to it. Looked like the Dolphins were a runaway freight train a few weeks ago, but the Dolphins do what they do best. They can't beat good teams. Now they're playing Buffalo, who's quietly back in the hunt. They're both at 10-6, correct, right now, and this is going to decide who wins this division. You got the big one down here at the Hard Rock Stadium. You got Buffalo, now currently a 3-point favorite, guys, playing at Miami.
That I can't understand.
So the
start with
Dolphins are actually 11-5. Bills are 10-6.
Right.
But
okay.
if the Bills win, they have the same record, but it's going to be
They win the division.
They get the tiebreaker.
But the Dolphins are already in the playoffs. And the Dolphins, you heard what happened at Tyreek Hill's house, right? He had a big fire in one of his big mansions yesterday.
Maybe he had some type of party going on.
They just announced it was a child playing with a cigarette lighter.
Wow.
Gone wrong.
Was that what happened?
A kid playing with a cigarette lighter.
Wow. So more stress to worry about. The Dolphins got Waddle banged up. They lost Chubb. They got Tyreek.
Mostert, I think, was hurt last week. I don't know if he's back this week.
And they're going against this Josh Allen high-powered offense. I got to ask you. I'm going to start with you.
Well, no doubt there's injuries on the Dolphins squad, but 3 points favorite the Bills in Miami. Wouldn't you think maybe closer to a pick 'em here? It's no respect they're giving the Dolphins. And if you go with the trend with the odds makers here, they're saying Dolphins are not going to cover this game, in my opinion. I mean,
they don't beat teams with winning records.
Both teams are in the playoffs here. But look what happened with the Ravens last week.
That's the thing about this game. If the Bills lose this game, they could be bumped out of the playoffs.
Right. Based on
so it's a huge. And if they
Allen.
win the game, they could be like the second seed. This is you don't see this very often where you have such a big swing just by a win or a loss.
But the thing is, they're 3-point favorites, and there is a lot of injuries here. Dolphins got tattooed last week for the Ravens. Can they win the big game is the question.
They haven't won the big game all year.
Even if they get into the playoffs,
they beat Dallas.
How far are they going to go in the playoffs? In short, I'm taking the Bills. I'm buying it down to 2.5.
Oh, all right. So you're jumping on the Bills. Sound like you were jumping on Miami.
No. I'm just saying the Dolphins. They're good, but have they really proven to be a great team?
What's the money line? What's the price on the money line? It might be a good money line play.
You could
actually. I like the money line on that game. I like Buffalo. I think they turned it around. I told you when they lost to Philly. After that, they seem they've been playing well lately. They've come around. I mean, they're getting the job done. That's the bottom line is they're getting the job done. The Dolphins are not getting the job done. And there's a big difference when a team is on a plateau that's finding ways to win versus a team that's finding ways to lose. And that's the case in this matchup. You got the Dolphins that have just been struggling. They're not the same team, and obviously injuries play a role in it.
Bills minus 154 on FanDuel, Dolphins plus 130 money line.
You really never know who you're going to get with this Dolphins team.
Yeah.
I mean,
now, that being said, the Bills haven't really covered a lot of spreads. I mean, the Bills against the spread are 3-9 in their last 12.
Right. But they're finding ways to win.
They're finding ways to win.
Where the Dolphins somehow are finding ways to blow games.
And the Dolphins, they're not losing. When they lose these
crushed.
big games, they get destroyed by double digits. I mean, it's not like, I would see if the Ravens game was close, if the other Bills game was close, if the Eagles, none of these games are really close.
Good point.
So I like in this one.
That's why the line is 3 in their favor.
I think, you don't know who you're going to get. So
and a lot of injuries, don't forget, to the Dolphins coming into this game. I mean, they're all banged up this time of the year. Injuries, every team is banged up. I mean, you're in week 17 of the season, so there's no teams that are like injury-free right now. They're all banged up. They're hurting. But, yeah, there's a lot of key players banged up for the Dolphins going into this game. That's probably the factor. Obviously, the running game, Waddle and Tyreek, part of the passing game for Miami. If Waddle is so-so and Tyreek is so-so, I mean, who's he going to throw to?
Braxton Berrios. I like the over in this one. I mean, it's like 48-49. It's gone up. Money's coming in on the under heavy. I think it's the safest bet on this game is just going over. They should score. You got two good quarterbacks.
Is that a strong play?
Once again, mid-level for all these. I know you want me to give a strong one, but I'm sticking mid-level for these plays, man.
Guys, I'm trying. It's 2024. I'm trying to pull it out of them. I'll get it out of him. I hope by the end of this.
I would say
this
my
year.
strongest play out of all the ones we've discussed are probably the Steelers. I just think with benching all those players, the Ravens, it's going to be tough.
And the Steelers look. I'll tell you, Mason Rudolph, man. He's
Rudolph
he's
and
he's
George
putting a little
Pickens,
show on.
their quarterback. I mean, their receiver George Pickens looks really good.
He's dynamite. He is dynamite. He made a couple of catches the other day that were just sensational. Yeah, the Steelers look really good. They handled Seattle really, really well. All right, you all set on that? NFL, we're good?
We're good. I mean, it's going to be an exciting. It's the last week 18, man. I cannot believe it.
I got to ask you guys right now, if you had to make a pick, I don't know if you even have the done your homework. I kind of got to lean. Who would you think's going to be in the Super Bowl? What two teams at this point?
I mean, right now, I would, and I'm probably sounding like a lot of people on ESPN and stuff right now, but I would have to say the Niners and the Ravens. I mean,
You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing.
They're just looking very powerful right now.
Definitely agree with the Niners. I'm not sold yet on the AFC part, but I think the Niners are going to be very, very tough to beat, especially when they're all playing like they are. They're a tough team. They can grind it out on the ground. They got a great passing game, and that quarterback Purdy, when he's right, he's very tough. He doesn't make mistakes too often, like he did against the Ravens, though.
The collapse of the Eagles has been really crazy, too.
Yeah.
Really crazy.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are going to
and look where this
get back there.
Super Bowl is. Whoever thought you'd have a Super Bowl in Vegas?
Oh, I love it.
Think about it.
I'm trying to get tickets for it.
I remember in the day, UNLV, you couldn't even bet the game.
Yeah.
Now they got a Super Bowl in Vegas. I mean, you want to talk about a party.
It's the sports mecca of the world, guys. Think about it.
It's
Formula One,
you're talking
Super Bowls. Got an NFL team. They'll have an NBA team. They got an NHL team. I mean, Vegas has come a long way.
I don't know if this is solid, but a lot of people are talking about the Oakland A's moving there.
Yeah, they've been saying that. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. It was hot for a while, then it cooled off.
Yeah.
I haven't heard much about it lately, but listen, why wouldn't there?
Everyone's rushing to Vegas.
Low taxes?
Low taxes.
When you're making $300 million a year, I guess doesn't really matter though. Some of these guys,
you could eat in the buffets.
Hey, it'll give you more. It'll give you more reasons to go out there.
Hey, listen, I'd like to be a stripper that week in Super Bowl week.
I don't think we would like that. Tommy,
what are they going to pull?
I'm still trying to get over the prescription from earlier
I'm just
on the
saying,
show.
what are they going to pull in that week working out there?
Oh, that's going to be a $10,000 a night little situation.
These coaches need to keep a tight. Whoever's
I'd
in
like
this,
to be their agents.
Yeah, whoever's in this game needs to.
God.
Well, we got the big one going, guys. Not to jump, but we're going to be going to this college football championship game on Monday night. I'll tell you, this is a great matchup. Two teams that basically have been going through, to destiny throughout the whole entire year. If you think about it, Michigan has found ways just to keep on winning, and look at this Washington team, just keeps on winning. Both teams undefeated. The current line on this game is Michigan -4.5. I'm going to start with you, Teddy. Who do you like?
Yeah. So
National championship.
This is a tough game. I mean, my future streak was broken with Alabama losing because that's who I had +600 to win it all. I love Penix.
Oh, it's great.
I think as good as J.J. McCarthy is, I think Penix is the better quarterback in this game. You got the Harbaugh destiny. A lot of people are saying this is it for Harbaugh, win or lose.
Yep.
A lot of people saying he's going to the NFL because of all the controversy he's facing. 4.5, and public is on Washington, and the line has not moved much yet. So, I mean, your sports betting brain, looking at numbers, looking at public money all over Washington, looking at the line not moving, looking at 4.5 instead of 3, it's kind of a bigger number for a championship game. Your brain would say that Michigan would pull it out in the end, maybe on a money line, but 4.5 is too many points for me. So at 4.5, I would take Washington, but that doesn't mean I think Washington's going to win the game.
You just think they're going to stay close.
But let's not forget, Washington beat a Texas team pretty handily. I mean, it ended up being close, but Washington controlled that game. And then Texas beat Bama in the beginning of the year. Michigan beats Bama. I think it's going to be a tight game. I would take, 4.5. I would take the 4.5 all
right.
day.
Sounds good. What about you, Big Kahuna? Who do you like in the
Well,
national
just
championship game?
one little tippet here. This is the first time 2 teams are undefeated playing in the national championship.
Yep.
Never been that before. I agree with Teddy here, but this is like the Super Bowl. There was an old saying in the day, worst game of the year, the bet is the Super Bowl. I mean, either team could win here. So this is a great game to go out with your buddies, have a drink, some good food, watch it. I'm going to lean towards Washington as well. But this is a game that, let's face it, where's the real angle here?
The real angle is Washington's offense against Michigan's defense. Who will prevail?
Yeah, it's too tight. I'll take the 4.5, but just to have a little fun on the game, to be honest.
Well, I don't know why you guys. I love this game. I love Washington, big time. I think this game is huge. This is my best bet by far of the week. I'm taking it at 10 units. I think they're absolutely the right side of this game. The only worry I would have is if that Washington defense, who is suspect, but that offense is amazing, runs into problems against Michigan. But I think they can control Michigan enough to stay in the game and let their offense do the talking. So I love the 4.5 points with Washington. I think this is one of the best value championship games, other than the one I had last year with Georgia to destroy TCU, which I loved Georgia in that game. I just think that Washington is a absolutely tremendous live dog in this game, guys. I've been following Washington all year, and they seem like a team of destiny. They play close games. They always find ways to win these close games and stay in these games. And I think the same thing's going to prevail, whether they win this game or they keep it close. It doesn't matter to me. But I like that 4.5 big time.
And I agree. So once again, another game that all three of us agree on. And I just also think something people might be overlooking. Michigan seemed to give a little bit more in the semifinal round. They seemed to celebrate the win a little bit more. They seemed like, I almost feel like for them, that was their beating Bama, beating the great Nick Saban was like a championship game for them.
And they didn't want to face Nick Saban going into that.
So I think they might have just kind of given it their all in that game, and now they come into this game a little bit with almost like a position game.
They left it on the field.
I think they left it on the field a little bit against Alabama,
and the way they won it too.
The way they won it, coming back, they really. It was a miracle that they won in the first place, going for it on 4th and 3 with a couple minutes left in the game.
Yep.
And then Bama just kind of crumbled in overtime.
What'd you think of that call, though? That call that Alabama did in the overtime? I mean, they called.
I was complaining about it.
2 timeouts, and the guy just runs straight to the heart, straight.
So what they did was they had 3 different plays. Both timeouts, they changed the plays.
Saban took a lot of criticism for that.
He did, and he accepted it. But here's the thing: they should have. That was a pass option all day. You roll Milroe to the outside. You try to find an open man. If he's not open, then you run it in from the outside.
Yeah.
That's the play they should have ran. Exactly. Everybody, talked about it.
It blew out my under. As soon as that thing went into OT, man.
Yeah, the Big Kahuna called me up.
What was it, 42, 43?
It was 42 and a half, 43.
43 and a half.
Yeah.
I'm saying, all right, it goes into OT, and they score the first.
You were hoping for just a field goal in overtime.
Hoping for a field goal. I would have snuck in like.
I mean, that was crazy. I mean, think about it. The great Nick Saban. They not only, you're on 4th and 3 in overtime, but you call 2 timeouts to get a play prepared, and then you run the
one
most
timeout was called by Michigan.
Right, then they called another right after to get it set up, and then you run straight into the middle of the line.
Some people are saying that he only did that because the snap was low. That was it was a terrible last play.
Well, listen, you know what? That's why it's Michigan against Washington. And it's going to be Washington, I think.
I think we all think that. Like I said, Michigan left it on the field last week. That was their national championship right there.
Guys, we're going to listen. We've been doing football for the last several months. Obviously, we're excited. We had a good season here. We hit some consistent winning. Teddy had a great year. Big Kahuna, good year, solid year for us, all of us here with our plays. But we're going to start moving into some basketball. coming up on the next show. So we really want to start gearing in. I don't know if you guys want to talk about anything in the NBA right now, any surprises early, anything you're looking at. We can take it to the next week and start it fresh, whatever you want.
Some horrible teams this year in the NBA.
Well, how about Detroit losing 28 in a row?
That's what I'm saying.
Tied an
It's
all-time
like,
record.
God, I don't know how their coaches are going to survive the season.
What are they, like 3-31 now?
I mean, last night, though, was a kind of a shock. The Heat beat the Lakers in La La Land.
The Heat are such a surprising team. I mean, they show up one day, they look so great, and then they just don't show up.
And
it's like
LeBron
the tale of two
LeBron
teams.
did nothing last night.
No, LeBron had a low-scoring game last night. Really low.
Yeah, I've been focusing more on NHL. I'm telling you what's been nice for me, surprising, is
Who you jumping on? What team?
These Canadian teams, the Jets, the Oilers, the Canucks. I mean, they're winning in a lot of good positions with a lot of good value, and now the lines are going to start to go up. So get these plays in while they can.
A lot of sharp guys bet hockey.
Yeah, hockey's great.
A lot of sharp guys.
You got the Panthers on a run right now.
Panthers are favorite tonight in Vegas.
In Vegas, they're 5-0 in their last
125 favorite.
The Panthers have the top 3 defense in NHL right now. The crazy thing to me, I was looking at this yesterday. The odds makers favorite to win the Stanley Cup right now are the Colorado Avalanche, and there's teams doing better than them, so that really surprised me.
Yeah, that's a good matchup tonight. Also, I mean, we're talking about games going tonight, but Colorado and Dallas. Yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup in the NHL.
Dallas has been a little underwhelming this year, though.
What about the NBA? Any surprises you see?
I don't touch the NBA right now.
You don't touch it?
I wait till like March, April. I like to wait till everything else is over and the games matter more.
Okay.
These NBA players, they just don't. They kind of pick and choose when they're showing up.
Long season.
It's
NBA.
a long season. It's really grueling on the
The
body.
back-to-backs are a killer, man.
Yeah.
Right.
It seems like you can't catch these teams on the back-to-backs. Perfect example the other night. OKC plays Boston. They get up for that game big time. OKC's having a hell of a year, by the way. They're one of the most surprising teams in the NBA early in the season. I think their record right now is like 23 or 22-10 at this point in time. They beat Boston, at home. Then the next night they go to Atlanta, and Atlanta beats them. And Atlanta's not having such a great season. So the back-to-backs really, you got to be careful, guys, when you're betting, the NBA with back-to-backs. You got to really know the numbers and really watch it real carefully, because there are opportunities where you can catch some great value and take advantage of it. But we'll get more into the NBA. We'll get more into the college. We'll get more into the NHL next week. Hey, guys, it was great being here today with you guys. Another huge show.
Definitely.
Anything you want to add before we go?
No, I mean, we're looking forward to the playoffs, wild card NFL. It's going to be a great game on Monday. And, we're going to get into some basketball, some hockey, even some soccer. And
soccer. Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's bringing the international flavor,
well,
Ben.
let me tell you, soccer is, number one, a great sport, and I believe there's a lot of money to be made in soccer.
Okay.
English Premier League, I do follow somewhat, and I've done pretty well.
All right. Well, can you tell the people out there that are following us how they can check you out every day and
by all means,
get all the information from you?
Number one, you want to go to our site, onlinesportsbet.com. We do have an odds comparison feed, so you could check 6 different books. We've been on fire on Instagram, OSB_sports. I put up 2 picks daily. YouTube, OSB -sports. We put up 3-4 videos daily, all free. Check us out.
One and only Teddy Brooks. How can the people find you, get your daily information, and keep in touch with you?
TheSportsProfits.com. The Sports Profits. We're putting up more free picks on our website now via article than we were before. And you could go to YouTube at The Sports Profits. That's where we're 16-4 in our last 20. Instagram, The Profits Picks, _Profits_pick, no S on pick.
Guys, we've been doing this show for several months. We have never, ever put a play out for sale. Everything we do here is for free. So we want you to understand that. We're giving you our opinions absolutely free. Can't ask for anything more than that.
Quick thing. I get people, and I hope you guys pay attention to what we put out there, because I'll get people that'll DM me and say, can I get a free play? And And I reply, they're right there. Like, they're right there. All you got to
How
do
many
is
you want, right? How many you want?
just go to the YouTuber. Sometimes I put them on Instagram. Sometimes I don't, because I like to try to make people go to the YouTube. But they're right there. When I do put them on YouTube, I post it on Instagram.
But it's not enough. You know
and I
that.
post a link to go to the
never
YouTube
enough. Come
to
on.
get the free play.
If you give 3, they want 4. If you give 4, they want 6. You know how it goes. All right, guys, I'm Scott Matthews. I'm the host of the show. You can find me on TikTok at SMPix. That's right, at SMPix. Everything's for free. Every day we put up the videos. Check it out. And also on Instagram at SM Sports Picks, P-I-C-K-S. And check the show out each and every week. You can find it on all podcast forums. Think about it. All the podcast forums, from Spotify to Apple. All we're trying to do is just give you that winning edge. We've been in this business a long time. We're going to bring it to you each and every week. We appreciate you following the show. Give us a big thumbs up if you like what we're doing. We always appreciate that, and we're working hard for you. We'll see you back here 1 week from today on next Wednesday.
Very good show.